Hey man, could you hold these for a second? Sure. That was very uncool.
So 2022 was supposed to have a lot of games that 2023 is now having, so to teach 2022 a lesson, I've made him do my dishes. Hey everyone, Felix from Nintendo Life here, and today we're here to look at 25 games coming out for the Nintendo Switch in 2023. Now we have a lot of variety here, everything from giant open worlds, RPGs, smaller indie titles, but also games that have just kind of been forgotten. Is it my turn next? No. So buckle up, because this is gonna be a long one. Let's go. The first game on our list is actually two games, and they are Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden, coming out the 19th of January. And I decided to put these two games together instead of separately, so we could have an extra game on this list. Oh, he has to be talking about me this time. Dude, you're not coming out. So these two games has not been on any Nintendo console before, so for many it's gonna be the first time they'll try out these highly looked upon games. If you don't know what kind of game they are, well, on one hand it's a JRPG with turn-based combat and dungeon crawl elements, and on another it's a social sim where you go to school, make friends, etc. So which one of these two games do you go with? Well, in Persona 3 Portable, you're trying to figure out the truth about Dark Hour. And in this Dark Hour, you'll be fighting shadows in the giant tower Tartarus. You also have the choice to be a male or female protagonist, which actually changes how the story will play out. In Persona 4 Golden, however, you're trying to find a serial killer who's dumping bodies into this weird TV dimension. It's also a bit more happy-go-lucky in places, but don't get me wrong, it still deals with some pretty heavy subjects. An important note is that these are separate, unattached adventures, so you can play them in any order you like. So just go with the one that intrigues you the most. You can't really go wrong with either of them, as they are fantastic games, which are releasing, well, the 19th of January. Next up on our list, we have Fire Emblem Engage, which is starting off Nintendo's new year with a turn-based bang.
Okay, your turn.
The tactical JRPG series is back. But not only the series, multiple characters from previous Fire Emblem games make a return. Because the big new feature this time around is that you can summon old heroes with the help of emblem rings, you know, Marth, Byleth, etc. And these heroes will sync with your character Alir, who you play as, to make them more powerful. For example, Sigurd will let you traverse much greater distances on the map. A slightly modified weapon triangle is also making its grand return. And on the topic of stuff old Fire Emblem games did, Engage is looking to take the approach of less social sim and then in turn have more grid-based battling. Are these some good changes? Well, you tell us, because time has really just flown away since this game is coming out very soon, the 20th of January. Are you ready, kids? Because the next game on our list is a spiritual sequel to SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. It's SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake, coming out the 31st of January. SpongeBob and Patrick get hands on some mermaid tears that can open portals and destroy the universe. So you'll get to jump around in worlds of cowboys, pirates, and knights in this classical style platformer. Also, compared to Battle for Bikini Bottom, this time you'll only play as SpongeBob, but he has some new fancy moves that only SpongeBob himself can pull off. Everyone is also voiced by the original voice actors, and we have fan favorite songs included like Sweet Victory. Do you have what it takes to not let SpongeBob and Patrick destroy the universe? Well, find out the 31st of January. This little co-op game, Blanc, takes place in winter, but you can luckily play it inside in the warmth, maybe even with a blanket over you, when it comes out the 14th of February. This is a co-op only game, just so you know, and you and a friend play as a wolf cub and a fawn who has to join forces and find their lost families in the cold. One is small and can enter tight spaces, where another is large and can jump further or help the small player reach higher platforms. You must work together to overcome puzzles, and just hope that this little tale doesn't decide to suddenly show the color red and the families, because if it's anything like Bambi, I myself am a huge couch co-op enthusiast, so I'll always welcome a new game in the genre with open arms. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do when Blanc launches on Nintendo Switch the 14th of February. The fifth game on our list is Theatrhythm Final Bar Line, coming out the 16th of February. So this is an action rhythm game with Final Fantasy music, and there's a whopping 385 songs to choose from. This is a series that originally started on the 3DS and iOS, but now for the first time it's getting an entry on the Nintendo Switch. So in this game you choose a party out of 104 cute little Final Fantasy characters and battle with the power of tapping to the rhythm. You can play up to 2 people together on a single system, or take it up in an online battle with 8 people. And if Final Fantasy music isn't quite to your liking, well, they have DLC lined up, with music from the games like Nier, Octopath and the Saga series. So if you like rhythm games and Square Enix, then get your slickest button presses ready for the 16th of February. A day later we're getting Tales of Symphonia Remastered. So this fantasy action RPG game was originally released on the GameCube in 2003, and this is the 5th game in the Tales of series. It was also the first game with 3D computer graphics in the series, because you know 3D didn't exist before 2003.
That's a lie. I'm from 2002, and as you can see, I'm 3D.
In Tales of Symphonia, there's an evil group who's driving the population, well, almost extinct. Colette the Chosen One receives word from the Oracle and sets out to save the world of Silverrand, with her long-life friend and main protagonist, Lloyd. This game is critically acclaimed for its world-building, story, beautiful animated cutscenes, and unforgettable characters that you'll recruit along your way to save the people. So there's good reason to be excited for this remaster when it launches on the Nintendo Switch the 17th of February. The 22nd of February we're getting Digimon World Next Order for the Nintendo Switch. This is the first time it's coming to a Nintendo platform ever since it was released back in 2016 for the PS Vita. You're transported to the digital world where the Digimon exist and arrive at the floating city Floatia. This city acts as your base, where you can upgrade buildings, grow crops, plus so much more. You can also evolve your Digimon, but only if you meet certain requirements. If not, they'll die and be reborn, so expect to have a very close bond with these Digimon. There's also over 200 Digimon to collect, and you can not only have 1, but 2 Digimon by your side when you're out battling. Why are we battling though? Well, you see, that's because the world is in great danger due to the Machinedramon, so take up the fight and bring peace back to the digital world when it releases the 22nd of February.
This looks exactly like Octopath Traveler. And it's the same, yeah!
Hey, it is.
Yo, it is. What?
Yeah, I'm quite excited for this game. Releasing the 24th of February, Octopath Traveler 2 is looking to take everything that made 1 good and just build upon it. So you still have 8 original characters with their own stories, brilliant fighting mechanics, and of course, the gorgeous HD 2D pixel art style. This is a complete standalone game, so you don't have to have played 1 to play this, although we've been told that you'll be right at home if you're familiar with the Octopath formula. They also say that they've listened to feedback, so now the 8 travelers will interact more, and even have some shared storylines, so that's a massive plus. New to this game is a full day and night cycle, and based on what time of day it is, there'll be different activities to choose from. The travelers also have 2 path actions instead of 1 at day and 1 at night. For example, the warrior Hikari can challenge people in town to a duel during daytime, but at night you can bribe residents to learn secrets about people. It's just like me. At day I'm making videos for Nintendo Life, and at night I'm crying myself to sleep. Battling is also back with its break and boost mechanics, although a new latent power is added to the mix. This is a gauge meter that fills up as you do damage and unleashes a very powerful attack. So I'm stoked to try it out when I'm up against tough foes when the game releases the 24th of February. Competing with Octopath that day is Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, and the Deluxe being that this is a remake of a 2011 Wii classic. Play solo or 4 players together as Kirby, King Dedede, Meta Knight and Bandana Waddle Dee, or just everyone as Kirby. There's also a brand new Mecha Copy ability, plus some brand new minigames like Makalor's Tome Trackers. Speaking of Makalor, he's the one who actually starts this adventure, as he crash lands his ship on the planet Popstar, and you, as Kirby, must help him retrieve various missing pieces. The visuals has also been upgraded, looking absolutely stellar, so get ready to embark on a classic Kirby adventure. 2D platforming, copy abilities and a boatload of charm, you got it. So, the Japanese video game horror series Fatal Frame or Project Zero is here once again to scare, well, everyone, and that's including me because, whew, I do not like this footage. We're getting the 4th game in the series, Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, that originally came out on the Wii in 2008, and this was the first time a Fatal Frame game was developed for a Nintendo console. The game was also only available in Japan, so that means yes, besides a fan translation, this is the first time the West will be able to play this and understand the game. And on top of that, the visuals has also gotten a big upgrade compared to the original. It's a prequel to the original Fatal Frame game, and in this you play as multiple different protagonists where you'll be confronted by spirits and must use the camera obscura to seal away their power. So if you like horror and that shenanigans, get ready for some scary camera grabbing action when the game releases, well, the 9th of March. And from one prequel to another, we have Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon. So from what you can see, this is a very far departure from the Bayonetta we all know and love. Gone is the hack and slash, and instead there's a more storybook feel to it all, with more focus on exploration, simpler combat and puzzle solving. It's also a bit more family friendly, rated T instead of M. You play as a young Cereza trying to become a witch, and in this story you'll embark on an adventure to save your mother. To accompany you on your adventure, Cereza's demon partner Cheshire is also coming along, and you'll be controlling them both, using one joystick for Cereza and another for Cheshire. If you can't wait for the 17th of March, well, you're in luck, because there's a playable teaser already available now in Bayonetta 3 via an old picture book you can get in Rodin's shop, so better get going with you.
Felix, sometimes...
In this game you play as Death, who's burnt out from working his job at Death Inc. It's a 2D indie action platformer with roguelite elements, so you'll be slashing enemies with your sickle and dying over and over again. Luckily, you are Death itself, so you can't really die, similar to how Zacharias can't die in Hades. Hades So the reason you're out slaying is because your employees have run amok, and you have to put them in their place before you can go out on a well-needed vacation. There's 30 unique weapons and spells at your disposal, and Death just looks to have some really cool tricks up his sleeve. The music and hand-animated art style is also just phenomenal, taking inspiration from stellar games while still being entirely unique and captivating. So get ready to battle to the death, the 22nd of March.
Did someone say Mega Man Battle Network?
Well, if you just did, which is highly unlikely, you're in for a treat. The 14th of April, we're getting all 10 mainline Mega Man Battle Network games in Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. And when I say 10, it's more like 6, it's just that 3, 4, 5 and 6 did the Pokemon and released 2 almost identical games with a few different features. So while it still is 10 games, just keep that in mind. These are spin-offs of the original Mega Man games, and the genre of these, well, tactical RPGs. Set in an alternate future where scientists focused on network technology instead of robots, you play as Lan Hikari, who's accompanied by his NetNavi Megaman.exe. You're gonna be fighting tons of evil organizations and enemies in a very original battle system which takes place on 18 squares. You'll have to be quick and on your toes to dodge the enemy's attacks, and have a good collection of battle chips, which are powerful attacks outside of your usual arm gun shooting. These games has been stuck on the Game Boy Advance all the way up until, well, when this collection releases. Now, I myself haven't had the biggest exposure to this franchise, but I know so many people that grew up with it and are so stoked to finally be able to play this on the big screen. They're also restoring the online functionality of the original games, where back then you had to link the Game Boys together with a cable. Now you can just play online with your friends across the globe. So whether you're a lifelong fan or completely new to the series, you should check out this collection when it launches on the Nintendo Switch the 14th of April. After waiting over 1,300 days, and probably the most anticipated game of many of you watching, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is finally landing on Switch the 12th of May, and boy can we not wait to get our hands on it. Now, not a lot is known about this game. We know Link's hand is corrupted, the Master Sword has been destroyed, and half of Hyrule is just floating in the sky. We also know that some form of Ganon is back, and that Link has new cool abilities, but other than that, Nintendo has not been keen on showing their hands. All we really know is that this is a sequel to one of the best games ever created, and that Zelda is falling to the abyss. I just hope that it can capture that magic that Breath of the Wild had, because I've not really been able to feel that ever since I played it. Maybe a little bit with Tunic, but that's as close as it gets. They've almost released nothing about the game. It's built in the same engine as Breath of the Wild, so they haven't had to create a whole new one. So I imagine that it's something really substantial and they just want you to experience it without knowing really anything. Either way, I'm just ready to fall from the sky and swim through platforms when this monster of a game finally launches on Switch the 12th of May. And that was all the games on this list with a confirmed release date, and we'll now be moving on to games with a release window. And what better way to start it than with Minecraft Legends, coming out in the second quarter of this year. It's an action strategy game set in the world of Minecraft, but in the past. See, this game is literally a Minecraft legend, a bedtime story that villagers tell their children. And as legends go and get told time and time again, some of the facts may be a bit on the foggy side. In this game, the whole overworld is working against defeating the evil piglets from the Nether. Yes, that means that all the monsters you're normally fighting against are on your side. The game is also in a third-person perspective and has a more cel-shaded look compared to the original game. So battle solo or against your friends to defend your base when Minecraft Legends hit the shelves sometime in the second quarter of 2023. Welcome to Fae Farm, a farm sim RPG where you either play by yourself or share a farm with up to 3 other friends in local or online multiplayer. You customize your character to your liking and then you're off putting your farm into shape. You can also complete quests and form bonds with the local townsfolk, together with trying to figure out the secret that the land Asoria holds. Magic is also a factor, since you'll use it for all kind of things when farming, battling or exploring the fairy lands. And the art style, this just looks and feels like Stardew Valley met Animal Crossing, and I'm all here for it. So get ready to start a farm with your friends in the magical land of Asoria when the game launches in the second quarter this year. The creators of the Danganronpa series are here with a brand new game, Master Detective Archives Raincoat, which also launches sometime in the second quarter of this year. In this dark fantasy action detective game you play as Yuma, an amnestic detective with not a lot of training, but luckily you have a mentor who's willing to help. A Shinigami, the spirit companion and also a death god, is teaching Yuma the ways of the detective. You wake up in a train station and quickly has to embark on a mission putting your skills to the test. And if you know the Danganronpa creators, these games has a tendency to get really weird. And this game is continuing the trend of M-rated games, so, well, everything, even the quite disturbing stuff, is on the table. Do you think you can handle the flashy bizarreness? Well, there's only one way to find out when the game launches sometime in the second quarter of this year. And going a quarter forward to the third quarter of this year, we have Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. This is a remake of a GameCube game tons of people grew up with, Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life. But even though the name has changed from Harvest Moon to Story of Seasons, this is still the exact same game, just with updated visuals and some new events. You start off on a farm in a forgotten valley, but over time you'll make this a nice little cozy farm where you'll be growing crops, raising animals, and fall in love with a partner and maybe get a child together. And in this remake, there's also going to be more cooking recipes, new crops, and enhanced festivals, but you'll still have your usual fishing, hunting for treasure, and socializing with the community that you all knew and loved. So get ready to return to A Wonderful Life, or when the game releases sometime in the third quarter of this year. Announced back in 2022, Sea of Stars is on many people's wishlist. You play as Sail, the Sun Boy, and Valerie, the Moon Girl, who looks just like someone you used to know. There'll also be more people to recruit along your journey, as you'll be able to control up to 6 characters in battle. The battle is turn-based, and here you must time your hits and combo up together to deal massive damage and overcome even the fiercest of foes. Made by the same team that made The Messenger, this game is in a completely different genre, but still set in the same world as that Metroidvania. and it has a giant world to explore, either by swimming, climbing or vault jumping. So if you ever get tired of the main story, well, you can just take a breather, go do some cooking and find a tavern to relax. Some of the music tracks here are also composed by the legendary Yasunori Mitsuda, composer of tons of games like Chrono Trigger, so there's big reason to be excited. But we also have to talk about the visuals for a second. Not only is it made in this gorgeous pixel art style, it's 100% rendered dynamically, which means you'll have day and night cycles in real time. Just take a look at this demonstration on their website. I have never seen anything like it, and I'm stoked to see how it will change up the scene when I'm running around as Valerie and Sail when the game comes out sometime in the third quarter of this year. And next up on our list is a game I'm extremely hyped about, and it's Hollow Knight Silksong. Wait, why is it saying 2023 down there? Well, Xbox has multiple times said that the game will come out in 2023. June 12th, they said that Silksong will be coming out within 12 months, and then here again, the 2nd of January, they said that it would still be coming out this year. Even a moderator on the official Hollow Knight Discord server and playtester on Silksong has come out and said that the original coming out within 12 months post by Xbox was news. So I'm actually quite certain that this will come out this year. But then again, it's not the first time I've had false expectations. In reality, I'm just excited to play this game whenever it comes out. Hollow Knight is one of my favorite games of all time, and Silksong is probably the game after Tears of the Kingdom that I'm most excited to get my hands on. But we'll just have to trust Team Cherry that the wait will be worth it, because what have they been doing ever since showing off that demo 3 years ago? Hopefully, and most likely, the scope of the game just kept expanding, and they wanted to ensure that the game would be the best it could be, but man oh man do I just hope it comes out this year. And the next game on our list is Gunbrella. Receiving this amazing trailer back in May, this game has left us wanting more ever since we first laid eyes on it. It's this action-adventure where you wield not an umbrella, not a gun, but a gunbrella. Use it as a shield, use it as a gun, use it to launch yourself upwards or to defeat massive bosses. The idea here is just simply... Now, we don't know a lot about this game, but what we do know is that this game has a fantastic pixel art style rivaling the likes of Chained Echoes, Eastward, and even Celeste. So buckle up for some hardcore Gunbrella action when the game releases, well, sometime this year. Rune Factory 3 originally came out on the DS in 2009, and is now getting a full remaster on the Nintendo Switch in the form of Rune Factory 3 Special. Now, I actually thought this was coming out the 2nd of March, but it turns out that's only Japan. We in the West just have to wait for some time in 2023. In traditional Rune Factory fashion, you'll of course farm, where you can find magic seeds that grow into weird crops, get married, where this remaster there's new stories to play through depending on who you get together with, and also you'll find monsters on the side in classic RPG combat. A twist in this game though is that the protagonist, Micah, can transform himself into a sheep-like monster, and the interactions you have with people in town will change depending on what form you've taken at the moment. Your goal is to get monsters and humans to live side by side, and what better time to achieve that when the remaster releases the 2nd of March. Former Pokemon employee James Turner took us all by surprise when his new studio announced their first game, The Plucky Squire, releasing sometime this year. You start off in this storybook with gorgeous animations and different gameplay elements like classic top-down Zelda, arrow shooting and even punch-out boxing. But one day Jot, the main protagonist, discovers a whole new world, the 3D world, which brings a whole bunch of new elements to the table. Yeah, this game doesn't look to be holding back on its ideas. We still don't know much about this game, but we imagine that it'll be an adventure like no other. So solve puzzles, fly with jetpacks, and much more when the Plucky Squire lands on Switch sometime in 2023. A new game in the Metal Slug series is coming sometime this year, and if it wasn't clear by the art style, it's being developed by the same team that brought you Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which is already a ginormous plus. But if the visuals alone don't sell you, Sonic Mania composer T. Lopez is also working on the soundtrack. This is a tactical RPG with roguelike elements. You play as the Peregrine Falcons, and they'll be dying again and again trying to end the war and stop Donald Morton. A whole new perspective to the Metal Slug series with a brilliant team and composer behind it. What's not to be excited about here? So back in 2015, Shigeru Miyamoto said that Pikmin 4 was near completion. And then the last bit of info we heard was in 2017, and then it was radio silence. We thought that the game was maybe cancelled or turned into something like Pikmin Bloom, but no. It took us everyone by surprise when Miyamoto showed up in the latest Nintendo Direct and announced that Pikmin 4 was indeed not a thing just created in our imagination. So what do we know about this game thus far? Well, not a lot besides the 2023 release date. There was a 30-second trailer plus one screenshot released, which showcased the bullboars, a gigantic garden bench, and human-like items like a pocket watch. We also got told that they would be simplifying the controls of this entry, plus add a new camera angle that would be much closer to the Pikmin's perspective near the ground.
I don't get the hype.
So if you, like many others, and Alex, have been longing for a new Pikmin adventure, well, look out for it sometime in 2023. And that was the 25 games coming out this year. But before ending this video, I want to go over some honorable mentions, like Metroid Prime 4. Announced back in 2017 and then in 2019, they reset the development and brought in Retro Studios. We know nothing about this game. We know it's coming out, but other than that, it's just shots in the dark. Maybe it's coming out this year. I mean, we can keep saying it every year and eventually we'll be right. Another honorable mention is Outer Wilds, showing up in a direct for a summer 2021 release date and then nada. We haven't heard anything, not even, oh, this game is delayed 2 years, see you then. No, we know nothing. We don't know what happened to this game. If it's ever coming to Switch, one can only hope. And that was my honorable mentions. I'm sure I didn't forget anyone.
Oh, come on!
If you like this video, why don't you check out our website nintendolife.com for all sorts of Nintendo related content. Let us know down in the comments below if you're picking any of these games up. I mean, you probably are, but I want to know which ones you're getting. Stay safe, play some video games here in 2023, and I'll see you in the next one. Felix from Nintendo Life, out. Alright, cool.
Haha, and that's why you don't mess with Mr. 22.
A needle?
Not just any needle, my friend, a poison needle. And you have approximately 30 seconds left to live.
Wait, you're joking, right?
29.
Are you doing this because of the dishes?
28.
You're crazy, you're lunatic!
27.
Oh my god, I gotta call my family.
Nah, I'm just kidding, it's a normal needle. Dude, you really had me there for a second. So, everything good between us?
Yeah.
Cool, I'll catch you later. All right, bye-bye.
23, 22, 21.